Hey, hey, everybody! Welcome! It is day one of the Biz In Five series. This is my favorite time of the year because we get to talk about virtual assistants for a whole week. If you don't know, Melanie and I will be going live every single day this week at noon Central Time, and I'm so excited that you are here to catch day one. We're going to be talking about how to launch your virtual assistant business in these 5 days. It's going to be phenomenal. If you don't know Melanie, she's right here over on my left, right? Depends on
Yeah,
how you see the screen.
I'm here and I'm so excited, you guys.
Yay! Introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do here on the team?
So my name is Melanie Fountain. I am the Savvy System Director with the Virtual Savvy, but I started as a virtual assistant with the Savvy System almost 3 years ago now. And so, yeah, it's crazy, but I'm so excited to be here with you all today and answer your guys' questions.
Yeah, so Melanie is going to be collecting. We've got so many people. We had over 5,000 people register for this training. Not everyone will make it live. Some people are on Facebook, some people are on YouTube, but we have 5,000 people total. So what she's going to be doing, because I know you guys have tons of questions, is she's going to be taking note of your questions throughout this training. And then at the very end, we're going to do a Q&A time. You can pick our brains, my brain, her brain. Her brain's pretty amazing. So you guys can pick our brains at the end. So she's just going to be collecting questions as we go. Now, before we jump into the training, I want to get to it really quickly because I know we have so much good stuff to go over. But I want to note one thing. These series, this 5-day training is something that we want you guys to get notified every day, and we want to be able to send you the replays and more resources that go along with the training. So if you didn't officially, like if you're just catching this live, go to thevirtualsavvy.com/bisin5 so we make sure that we can send you all of the reminders and the replays and everything for the training. All right, who's ready to jump in? Yeah,
Me.
let's do it. All right. I'm going to take Melanie off the screen so she can be, collecting you guys' questions. So excited for this training. We're just going to jump right in. I see you guys are here, excited. We have people from Georgia, from South Africa, from Dallas, from Washington, Louisiana, New Jersey, the Philippines, literally Jamaica. We're spanning the globe. So excited to have each one of you here. And I know that it may have been a sacrifice for some of you guys. So you had to like arrange things, or you're like taking care of kids while you're listening to this. Thank you. You're doing something for you. And that is a big deal. So I'm so excited that you are here today. I'm just going to go ahead and jump in because I know what you guys are here for, and it's to learn about virtual assistants. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to present my screen. Let me know that you can see everything all right. So here's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about virtual assistants and how it can be a total game changer for you and your life. And today in particular, I'm going to be going over, what is a virtual assistant, taking you behind the scenes into my backstory on what it actually took for me to choose this path and why it made such a big deal, and talk about some of the things that really convinced me to do this over other things, right? So that's day one. We have so many different things to talk about in each one of the days. But if you haven't met me, hi, I'm Abby Ashley. I am the founder of the Virtual Savvy. Me and my team of now 20 people, we are committed to teaching people about virtual assistants. Most of us were virtual assistants ourselves, and we know how much of a game changer it can be. A little bit more about me. I have a family that I absolutely love. I have two littles, Jones and Evie. They are 5 and 7. My husband, who works in the business as well. I am just, kind of a quirky, weird person. I love orange juice so thick that you can chew it. Is anybody team pulp? If you're team pulp, put team pulp in the comments. Some people are like, Abby, that's disgusting. And so I'll put ice in my pulpy orange juice. Like, the chewier, the better. I'm an amateur beatboxer. emphasis on the amateur. And, I really, once I became a stay-at-home mom, which I'll talk a little bit about, I really had this desire to contribute and have something that I felt like was mine, right? Like a project that I knew I could put my heart and soul into. And the money was an extra added benefit, of course. But we're going to be talking about that a little bit today. So here's the plan. We're going to talk about really what is a virtual assistant. If you haven't heard really what this whole making money from home thing is all about, we're going to be diving into some of the ins and outs. We're going to talk about what a VA is, what a VA isn't. So we're going to be talking about that today. Then we're going to do a live Q&A. So throughout this training, like I'm sitting here and I'm looking at your questions, but Melanie, who is our Savvy System Director, the director of the program that teaches people how to be VAs, she's amazing, and she's going to be coming on live with me to answer those questions. And then at the very end, my team will help me embarrass myself by giving me a surprise truth or dare in the Be Bold Challenge. So we are challenging you guys to be bold and start your VA businesses. And so every single day, there's going to be a fun little challenge for me and Melanie to do something bold. Basically, it's just a way for my team to embarrass me live. So stay tuned till the very end for that. So let's talk about virtual assistants. Guys, virtual assistants can be an absolute game changer. Once I found out about virtual assistants, every other way that I had tried to make money working from home, and let me tell you, there were a lot of ways, completely paled in comparison. Guys, I tried so many different ways to make money from home. I tried selling jeans on eBay. I tried, like selling textbooks online and everything. I would get a little bit of momentum, but the amount of time and money and energy and effort, it was never worth how much money I was actually making. I don't know if anybody else has like done another business. Tell me like the most random business you've done in the comments. I would do so much work, right? And then I'd be like, oh, that's all the money I made. And I spent so much time away from my kids, and they weren't scalable. Honestly, I was barely making enough for it to be worth it for me, let alone the idea of like building a team and doing, no, right? But virtual assistants changed all of that. I had tried making this money on my own, and every single time it failed because I didn't have a simple and scalable business. And that's what virtual assistants is. It is simple. And we're going to talk about really why it is so simple and why it is so scalable. By the time I was in my mid-20s, guys, I've always been somebody who kind of had this entrepreneurial, never really satisfied type of brain, right? I had quit 20 plus jobs, which sounds really terrible. I'm hoping you're my people and you can relate to me. But I would try something, I'd be like, nah, this doesn't interest me. Meh, I don't really like this. I mean, I was a waitress. I built washing machine motors. I was an admin. I worked at, in an office. I did so many different random jobs. And at the end of the day, I'm like, none of these things are satisfying this passion in me. And honestly, it was a passion to create something. And so I just tried over and over. I tried different types of jobs. Then I tried starting different businesses. I already told you about, selling textbooks, selling jeans. Guys, one time I bought the domain. Hear me out. If anyone can beat me and has a more ridiculous business idea, then you win, like 5 Abby bucks, but which don't have any value, but that's okay. At one point, I purchased the domain name celebrityplank.com. Do you guys remember when planking was cool? Anybody? Yeah. So apparently I was going to like get celebrities to plank and put it on my website, and I was going to make money with that somehow. Like, I don't know. These are just the things that happen in my life where I'm like, here's an idea. And right. Then I wake up the next morning. I'm like, that was a terrible idea. And I've definitely bought more domains than any person should be allowed to purchase, because I've just always had like these ideas, but nothing really stuck, right? And that's when a friend suggested that I look into virtual assistants. Okay. Oh, and I'm seeing some of the different jobs, also a serial job hopper here. I had an events company. It just wasn't worth the effort that you put in versus the money. I tried doing a tutoring business, right? So you guys, oh, I'm so good. You guys are my people. Perfect. All right. So here's the backstory, okay, before we dive into fully what a virtual assistant is and what they do and what they don't do. So my backstory is I had tried all these different ways to make money from home, right? I have a 2-year-old daughter and another baby on the way. Ooh, 2 kids, very, very, very close together. Maybe not the smartest idea. And I was just, struggling because I'm like, I want to provide something. I want to create something. And that is when a friend said, Abby, have you thought about becoming a virtual assistant? I had never even heard of virtual assistants, right? Anybody else here maybe? And I just thought, man, maybe this is something I could do. She told me a little bit about it, but that night I scoured the internet, finding every single blog post and video or anything that I could find to even discover what virtual assistants was. And this was back in 2015, so there was not that much. There wasn't the virtual savvy, so there was not that much information out there. But everything I read, I'm like, I think I could do this. So the very next day, I just start calling myself a VA. And it is still one of our company values, action over perfection. And I launched with that idea because straight up, guys, I had no idea what I was doing. I really didn't. I had some admin experience, but I never really ran a business. I had never, done services like this in exchange for working for small business owners, right? I had never done anything like that. But once I discovered this, I thought this is something that seems like it'll really work for a few reasons. This is something that I can do on my own time, right? I didn't have to run to the post office to deliver jeans or textbooks like 3 times a day, right? I can do this at 2:00 in the morning after I've fed the baby. I can do this on my own schedule. I can do this with the skills that I already have, right? And it was just like, I can actually do this. And it's something that's really valuable. It's something that people need, right? Small business owners need someone to handle their customer service emails, or they need someone to create social media graphics. They need someone to help write their blog. It's a true service. I had looked into things like MLM, and no offense to MLM, like I know that there are people who make amazing money selling other people's products. But like for me, I'm like, oh, I just can't get my friends to buy like candles or leggings. Like I'm just like, I want to provide like something that people are like, oh yes, this is what I've been waiting for. I need this, right? And that's what I felt like virtual assistants was going to be to these small business owners. And it seemed scalable too, right? All of the things just like hit the box in my mind of like, I think this is going to work. I think this is going to be different. Did anybody else like have that feeling? Maybe some of you guys are already virtual assistants and you just had this like, I think there's something different about this. Now that doesn't mean I wasn't scared, right? And here's the thing, guys, and maybe this is you too. If you're anything like me, if you're a serial entrepreneur, I wasn't so much scared that it wasn't going to work, right? Like I could like see it, right? This is simple. This is scalable. Like people need this. This will work. I was scared in myself. I was scared that this is going to be just another thing that I started and quit. Oh, look, here's Abby starting another business and not following through. If I'm being really honest, that was my biggest fear, was being embarrassed that I was just starting something else that I was going to quit. And that was kind of this label, like quitter, that I put on myself. And it was something that I had to overcome. And how do you overcome that? How do you overcome those feelings of like, oh, I'm not enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not skilled enough. I'm just somebody who starts things and quits them. How do you overcome that? What was different this time? I had a why. I told you I was pregnant with my second child at this time, right? And this was like rubber meets the road time, because one kid, we could afford me being a stay-at-home mom. Like we were able to swing that. We were living in a basement apartment. We were literally living in somebody else's basement. There was one window. I have like vitamin D deficiency and winters were rough. Okay. Like having one window in a basement apartment. But with a second kid on the way, we're literally having conversations of like, how are we going to do this? Like, I need to start doing something that's actually going to make money. And that, like, literal, the child growing inside me was this, oh, we need to do something different, right? But it wasn't just that, right? Like, I think I mentioned this earlier, but there was this element of needing to create something that was apart from me being a mom too, right? I'll be honest, I had been a stay-at-home mom for like a year. I was nannying too a little bit at the time, right? I had done that, but I was kind of bored, if I'm being honest, which sounds really bad. I like waited my whole life to be a stay-at-home mom, and then I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was like, I'm kind of bored. Is this terrible? And it wasn't terrible. I love my kids, but I needed something that was mine, that was me, that I could put my creativity into, right? All my years of schooling that I did, all of my, my knowledge from previous jobs. I had all of these skills, and I needed something to put all of that into. And this was the thing that I was like, I can use my creativity. I can use my skills, right? Is this resounding with any of you guys? Is my why sounding like any of yours, or are my fears sounding like any of yours? Here's the thing, guys. Your why will be the thing that's going to help get you over those fears. And mine was kind of two-part, right? Mine was part just like the very practical, like we need some cash, like yesterday. And part of it was this deeper desire of like, I need something that is mine, that I can create, right? And something to put my energy into. So I want to ask you guys, we'll take a second right here, and I want to know what your big why is. And maybe it's something that's super practical. Maybe it's something it's just like, I need to, I need to pay off debt, or I need to, I want to retire my husband, or I want to, I'm a single mom and like I want to not be working two jobs, or whatever it may be, right? What is your big why? And go ahead and put them in the comments, because I really, really want to read them. It's like one of my favorite things. And people talk about your why a lot of time, but like for real, like what is the practical thing that you're like, this is what I need the cash money for? Mine was like, hey, I'm going to have to go back to a full-time job if I don't like start making one of these businesses work. And I don't want to do that with my second kid on the way. Or it could be that deeper why, right? That deep, like, I just finally want to prove to myself that I'm not a quitter. I want to finally, like show the world that I have something to give, or whatever it may be, right? Like, I want to hear your why. Go ahead and put it in the comments. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing so many good things. I need to create something beautiful, invest in people, support my purpose. I don't want to go back to teaching. My why, after already having my business, is retired my husband. I need a flexible schedule, mom of 4. I don't want to ask for time off for field trips. I want to leave my corporate job. These are so beautiful. I want to quit my 9-to-5. My worth is more than what I'm getting at work. Yep. Freedom. I love this. I love this. I want to start making money to support myself and ultimately have a stay-at-home business that'll help me retire. I love these, guys. Keep putting them, because here's what happens when we hear other people's whys. It helps us be like, oh, like you are my people, you get me. And having a community is so life-giving when you're starting something like this, because it can be really, really scary. So read other people's whys, get inspired, keep posting them, because I love these. Okay. All right, here we go. So your big why it is so important. It's going to help motivate you when things get difficult. So for me, I heard about virtual assistants. I said, all right, I'm going to start calling myself a virtual assistant, even though I don't know what it really is. And I just started researching, guys. I started seeing, what is it? What can I do? What are the services that I could offer, right? What are the things that I could actually do? How am I going to invoice people? All of those practical things that you're like, I want to do this. Wait, now what's step B, right? That's step A. Cool. Want to do this. Step B. What do I do? And I started researching those things. And so one of the top things that I had to really research and figure out was, what is a virtual assistant again? Like what, but not just like I understood it in general, and maybe some of you guys understand it in general, but when somebody comes to you at a networking meeting and you say, hi, I'm Abby Ashley, I'm a virtual assistant, and they say, that's awesome. So what's a virtual assistant, right? Because they're going to ask you that question. I will guarantee it. You need to be able to have a response. So that's really what we're going to talk about for the remainder of this live stream is, what is a VA? Now, before we jump into it, I do want to let you guys know, we're launching the Savvy System. If you don't know, the Savvy System is our signature training for training you how to become a virtual assistant. We'll be telling you about it more later on this week. We've had thousands of students go through the program, successfully start their own VA businesses. If you want to be notified when we actually launch the course, just go to thesavvysystem.com. It'll put you on the wait list. That way you'll be notified. You'll actually get a special coupon when we launch on Friday. There's so many benefits of the course. I'm not going to go into all of it right now, but it's lifetime access to this amazing course with 70 plus modules, a community, job opportunities, so much. So if it's something you're interested in, just like, hey, maybe I want to know more, go to thesavvysystem.com and you can get on the VIP list and save whenever we launch on Friday. Okay, cool. Let's go into what a virtual assistant is. A virtual assistant, let me just start out by saying it's a really broad term, okay? I would say virtual assistant in the same way that I would say, freelancer, right? A freelancer can do a lot of different things. And so when you become a virtual assistant, you may end up specializing in a certain area. But in general, a virtual assistant is an admin that works remotely for small business owners that will help them with any type of tasks that are potentially administrative, marketing, or, technically related. And so that really could be a lot of different things. And that's the beauty of virtual assistants. The beauty of virtual assistants is that it's not just like, you have to be great with numbers. Nope. I was a very successful virtual assistant and terrible with numbers, okay? You have to be super amazing at graphics. You should see the first graphics I ever created, right? No. And so that's the beauty of virtual assistants, that it's so broad that it's basically, you reflect on yourself and you say, what can I do? What skills do I have? What can I bring to the table that would help other small business owners? So your clients, the people purchasing your products, are going to be small business owners. That's a lot of different people. So that could be somebody that owns like an online shop, like an e-commerce store. It could be a real estate agent, right? It could be somebody that owns like their own health coaching business. It could be a personal trainer in the area. It could be a massage therapist. It could be, like somebody that owns like a roofing. We have people absolutely killing it in like the construction industry, right? And so any small business owner, and you can help them with those administrative, creative, or technical tasks. So you can see a lot of different things can be held under that virtual assistant umbrella, right? So what are some of the most common tasks? Well, I mentioned that they usually fall into those three buckets: administrative, creative, or technical. But what kind of things could you actually be doing? Well, one of the first tasks that so many business owners need to hand off, that when they are like, oh, I need somebody, I need admin help, it's things like customer service emails, guys. Literally just answering their inbox. Have you ever emailed a business and it takes them like 7 days to even get back to you? They have no like autoresponder or anything. And you're like, 7 days feels like a lifetime when you're emailing a business about something that's important to you. And so having, somebody to come in and answer those emails, to do appointment setting phone calls, right? To manage their calendar, to write maybe simple social media posts. And you don't have to be an expert at all of these things. Find the things that you do well. If you're a great writer, maybe you can blog for somebody, right? Or make social media captions. If you're like fairly good at graphics, you could potentially make Pinterest pins, right? If you're technical, you could learn how to design a simple website or do updates for a website. There's so many different things that you can do as a virtual assistant. If you're already a VA, tell me what in the comments, what the top tasks that you do, because I think it's really great for some of us to see from other people, like these are the things that I commonly do for my clients. And you may be a general virtual assistant and just doing a little bit of all of these different admin tasks, or you may end up specializing saying, I'm going to be a Pinterest manager. I'm going to be a YouTube editor, right? I'm going to help create sales funnels. I'm going to be a copywriter. You may eventually niche down into something, but so many people start out just, kind of doing a little bit of everything for everyone. And I think that's the perfect place to start. So those are some of the most common tasks. Now, here's what's great. Both online and brick and mortar businesses hire VAs. Okay. So when you think about your potential client, it's so vast. It's the beauty of virtual assistants, right? If you can't tell, I love virtual assistants just a little bit. And it's why I love it so much is that it is this untapped potential. When we talk about the potential for growth, I mean, think about not only the online and brick and mortar businesses that are in the US or in the country that you live, but literally your business can be international. I remember my first international client, I signed a fashion blogger from South Africa, and I was like, Ashley Assistants is international. Like I was so excited and it was just this coolest thing. And it was no different than working with my other clients, right? And that's really the beauty of virtual assistants about offering remote services is that you can have clients literally anywhere, which means you have untapped potential to grow this thing. I think it's important when talking about virtual assistants that we talk about the fact that you will be considered an independent contractor. Now, let me break that down for you really quickly for anybody who maybe that's the first time you've really heard about this. Any traditional job that you've worked, you've likely been an employee. It means that you go on their payroll, they are taking out your taxes, but they're also handling all of the big things it would take to do that job, right? If you went into an office, they supplied the computer, they supplied the internet and the house that you're, working from, the office that you're working from, all of that, right? As an independent contractor, it simply means that you are your own business owner. Even if you don't form an LLC, you're still just working as your own entity, right? You're working as an independent contractor, which means that you supply your own equipment, right? You're working from your own laptop. You decide when and how you will work. You don't have somebody saying, hey, I need you here from 8 to 5. I need you to go to this location. You decide how you will do the work. So if somebody comes in and has you manage their Pinterest, you can decide this is the best way that I think you should run your Pinterest, right? You're deciding all of that. I liken it a lot of times, which people it's always like the weirdest example, but I feel like it works really well for my brain is, I liken it to like a plumber, right? So when you have an issue at your house and you call a plumber in and you say, hey, I need you to fix XYZ, they'll say, okay, great. I can make it at these times. You don't call the plumber and say, I need you here tomorrow at 2:00. You'll work for 2 hours and I'll pay you $7 an hour or whatever, right? A plumber makes more than that, but that's not the way it works. No, the ball is in their court and they say, all right, I can be there at 2:00 tomorrow. They come in, they give you a quote. They say, this is how much it's going to cost, right? They set their own terms for working. They set their own rate. They invoice. That's what an independent contractor is. And you can see the difference between that and an employee. And I think it's really important because, guys, being an independent contractor is awesome. Okay. I love it. Sure, you have to buy your own equipment. You do have to figure out health insurance, which we can talk about, and things like that. But it means that you design your own schedule. You set your own rate. At a certain point, if you're like, I don't want to work for $30 an hour anymore, boom, you just gave yourself a raise and now you work for $40 an hour, right? Like it literally is so amazing, the opportunity to work as an independent contractor. And the other amazing thing about virtual assistants, and we'll jump into some Q&A, is that you don't need a lot to get started. Virtual assistants is one of the lowest barrier to entry jobs that you can start. I don't know if or careers that you could start. I don't know if any of you guys saw, but Kevin O'Leary earlier this year said if he were to recommend one business to start in 2021, it would be a virtual assistant business. And I was like, yeah, come on. And it's so true, because untapped potential, worldwide market, right? Just so much potential, so much need, especially as people are getting more and more comfortable with hiring remotely, right? And guys, get this. The overhead needed is so low compared to virtually every other business out there. You don't need inventory. You don't need a storefront, right? We think of all the other types of businesses that exist out there, and so many of them run at like these crazy low profit margins because you're having to have, well, I got to buy all this supply and I got to keep up with how much supply I have versus how much demand. No, like it's you and it's your talent and your computer and internet. And like, that's it. That's all you need. Done. Okay. And there's software out there that can make your job easier. We could talk through some of that software, right? But like, you really don't need anything else beside yourself, your computer, and some decently fast internet. Boom. Done. So awesome. Okay. It's the best feeling in the world. I love it. Obviously, I'm super passionate about virtual assistants. I hope that some of that passion is rubbing off on you, because it's just life-changing. It's why we at the Virtual Savvy, our mission is to tell people about virtual assistants. It changed my life. It changed the members of the lives of the people on my team. It changed the thousands of students' lives who have gone through our program. And so we're passionate about just telling people that it exists. When you say I'm a virtual assistant and people stop saying, oh, that's cool, now what is that again? That's when our mission is fulfilled, and we're not there yet. So if you guys, again, remember, you can get on that VIP list for up to $300 in savings when we do launch our course this Friday. I'll be telling you more about it throughout the week, but just go ahead and get on that VIP list so you are ready. Let's do this. Let's jump into some Q&A, because I'm sure you guys have had some awesome questions as we've been going. I'm going to go ahead and bring Melanie back on here, and she's going to let me know some of the questions. If we don't answer all of your questions here on the live stream, keep talking. We'll come back through some of the posts or through the comments and try to answer some of them. We'll keep this conversation going in our VA Savvies Facebook community. So let's go ahead and jump into some of the common questions that you guys were asking. Hey, Melanie.
Hey, everyone. We have some really good questions, but before we jump into that, I wanted to highlight this comment. Leonie, I hope I said your name right, says that she doesn't want to wear a real bra or pants to work again. And
that's her why. Best Buy Award.
Exactly. All of us at the Virtual Savvy were like, yes, girl, we're right there.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So good. It's so funny because I feel like with COVID, like the world got a taste of our life. They're like, oh my gosh, like it's 3 o'clock and I haven't showered. I'm still wearing pajamas to work, business on the top, party on the bottom. And it's like, yeah, this is what we've been telling you about, guys. It's amazing, except you have to still report to a boss and we run our own business. So,
Okay, and then so our first question is someone that says, is it possible to build a business while working a 9-to-5? I can't wait to quit my job and earn at least half of my salary.
Oh my goodness. I think that you can do it and earn all of your salary. Let me go ahead and say that. And I don't care how big your salary is. One of our students that started a year ago is literally like aiming for $1 million a year next year. And that's not every student, right? Like I'm not going to come up here and say, you're going to make $1 million. But like I'm telling you, the potential is ridiculous. I think that a good person to answer the question, can you do this while working a 9 to 5, would be Melanie. So I did have, and I understand, like I 100% had the privilege and the advantage of doing this while I was a stay-at-home mom. So, you know, that for some people would be like, well, that's not my circumstance. So it was way easier for you. Yeah, it was. Like I totally own up to that. But Melanie, let's talk a little bit about Melanie, because Melanie started her VA business, a single mom working a full-time job. Let's hear about your experience, Melanie.
Oh, well, I started, and my why was to quit my 9 to 5 so I can be home with my daughter. And so working, you know, my advice is to time block and get those, you know, pockets of time. I worked on my lunches, I worked late, but I knew, I was like, okay, I'm going to quit within my first year of launching my business. And I was able to do it in 5 months. And I did that, but with that intentionality, but I didn't even have my income fully replaced because I knew, okay, I'm about 75% of the way there. I know that if I can, with the time that I work my 9 to 5, then I can replace my income with that extra time with how many clients I did have. But really, it's just keeping your mind and your why in mind. Have it posted at your computer. Have it as, you know, the screensaver on your phone. Have it everywhere as a reminder of why you're hustling just a little bit harder during the season so that you can quit that 9 to 5. But it's absolutely possible. We see it every single day inside of our Savvy System community. Everybody's celebrating. I quit my 9 to 5. I put in my notice, and it's so possible. But it is a lot of work. So if you just understand going into it, that the hustle is going to be real for just a little bit, it's so worth it.
Yeah, like 100%. I love that, Melanie, because I bet those 5 months were not easy, right? Like you probably look back and you're like, oh my gosh, I was working all the time, but you had it in front of you. And when you have, we call them flip the switch goals. Like the flip the switch goals are like, you know, the second you've reached that goal. So that's like, you know, the second that you put in that notice, you know, the second that you pay off your house or pay off your student loans, you write the last check for your student loans, boom, like flip the switch goals are like, oh my gosh, it happened, right? Not like, I want to spend more time with my children. Well, that's great. But like, when do you know that it happened? And like, I want to quit my 9 to 5 is one of the most powerful flip the switch goals because it's big, it's massive. You are building a business and working your 9 to 5 at the same time, let alone commute and other responsibilities, family, you know, whatever. Like it's a lot. And we acknowledge that, but it can be done. And we know it because we've seen it done over and over and over again.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Abby. And you know, Jazz, she asks, how can you land your first client when you're just starting out? Is there a way to build your portfolio when everyone wants you to be experienced?
Such a great question. Okay. So, we're going to talk, let me just go ahead and say this. We're going to talk all about marketing on Friday. So make sure, like if you have to miss one, don't miss any of them. But if you need to miss one, make sure you do not miss Friday, because Friday we're going all about marketing, and they're marketing things that you can do without any experience. So where we tell people to start first, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in depth on Friday, is talking to friends and family. Now, one of the things I love about virtual assistants is that you don't have to sell anything to your friends and family. Deep sigh of relief, right? You're not trying to get them to buy things, but simply by telling your friends and family, here's what happens, okay? I want you guys, and you can say in the comments, do you know one small business owner? Do you personally know one person that owns a small business? Real estate agent, insurance agent, a health coach, somebody that's really high up in MLM, right? Somebody who owns an e-commerce store or a storefront or a coffee shop or something. Do you know one person who owns a small business? My brother-in-law owns a lawn care company, right? Okay, so just like you know one person that owns a small business, everyone you know knows one person who owns a small business. So literally just by telling your network, this isn't competing against like those job ops that get posted. We post jobs in our Savvy system, or in our Savvies group, our VA Savvies group, that huge group, but we post exclusive job opportunities in our Savvy system. I'm not even talking about those, right? I'm just talking about the people that you know, that there's not competition, because you're probably the first time they've even heard about a virtual assistant, right? Same thing when you go to local networking events. So many times, guys, those people, like, they haven't even heard of a virtual assistant. You're not competing against the tens of thousands of VAs out there. You're literally like the first person. They're like, this thing exists? Yes, please let me hire you, right? So there's tons of different ways to get clients, even if you're new. What I would not recommend, and I feel like your question maybe like alluded to this, what I would not recommend is working for free to get experience. You do not need experience as a VA. You don't need, nobody's looking at your resume. I've been doing this for 15 years. No, you have experience from the past job that you've worked. You have experience from running a household potentially, right? From volunteering that you've done. You have experience in the tasks that you're doing, or else you wouldn't have put them on your skill set, right? So you don't need to work for free. People who work for free, guys, they're the worst clients. Like literally, I'm telling you, anybody who has worked for somebody for free can vouch for me in the comments. They will undervalue you, and it will just discourage you in the very beginning. Honestly, you'll be like, oh, if this is what working for clients is like, I don't want to work for clients. No, you are working for somebody who agreed to pay you $0 for the work that you did. That's not going to be somebody who values your time and energy and effort. So no, don't work for free. Sorry. I'm in like a real high horse kind of day today. I'm like, let me get on my soapbox and tell you why you shouldn't work for free. I hope you're enjoying my candidness today.
Well, and let me piggyback off of that a little bit, Abby, that sometimes when you just talk about your business, people, close friends and family might even have businesses or business ideas, and that they are not even wanting to talk about until you talk about your business. And there are so many people that I've talked to after starting my VA business, just by talking about my business, that they've come out and said, oh, I'm actually starting this, but I don't even know where to start. I need help. And then just by talking about it, you're building relationships already. So I think that just by talking about it opens so many doors. So I just had to say that before jumping into this next question. And so Erica says, so if I go ahead and call myself a VA, how do I get clients? How can I guarantee to keep them?
Okay, so new VA, how do I get clients? How do I keep them? So we already talked a little bit about the marketing. And like I said, we're going to do a full marketing lesson on Friday. So I'm not going to go too deep into that right now. Again, the friends and family, we've talked about local networking, and we in our Savvy system, of course, we have tons, so many different ways to get clients. I'm telling you, once you get started with a virtual assistant business, getting clients will not be the hardest part. It's the biggest hurdle that we think we have to jump over. But once you get in and you start marketing, you realize you're like, oh, this actually isn't the hardest part if I have a good framework, right? If I have a good blueprint of, oh, here's how to get clients, right? Like it's very not that it's very not that difficult. It's not as difficult as we think it will be. Keeping clients, honestly, it's one of those things that another reason I love virtual assistants is that you can literally, we were talking about replacing your income. You can replace your income with a small number of clients. So rather than getting, I'm selling hair bows and I need to sell 1,000 hair bows a month to replace my income, right? At like $2 a piece or $3 a piece, whatever. Instead of getting thousands of people to buy from you, most virtual assistants replace their income between 4 and 5 clients. So you don't need 1,000 people to say yes. You need 4 people to say yes, right? 4, maybe not even that many, maybe 3, maybe 5. But for most of us to replace a full-time income. Okay, so if you have 4, 5, 6 clients, serving them really, really well is not that overwhelming, because it's just a few people. It's not hundreds of people. It's not thousands of people. It's a few people that you just have to give 100% your best effort for, right? And so that's really when I talk about like, how do you keep clients? I think it's just serving them well, right? Communicating. Communication is one of the best things that you can do. I love like doing like a little daily, like, here's what I'm working on today. And then like a recap email at the end of every single week saying, here's what I worked on this week and here's my upcoming projects. You can't over communicate to your clients. And so that's my recommendation.
I love that. And Kimberly says, I don't know how to start. I want to get into social media management or specialize in real estate, but I don't know that I have the qualifications to do either.
Okay, great question. So I would say, honestly, for most of us out there, you don't need to niche down in the beginning. So people say all the time, I don't know, are you team niche or team niche? What do you say? I think I say both. I just like interchange them.
I'm a niche. I'm a niche one. I had to say it in my head first.
I know. Like, wait, what? I think I say niche maybe too. But anyway, so the saying goes, the riches are in the niches. Has anybody ever heard that? And there's an element of that that's super true. Like whenever you decide to niche down and say, I'm only going to do social media, or I'm only going to work with real estate agents, or I'm only going to work with wedding professionals. I'm only going to set up Dubsado, right? Like I'm only going to do this one thing. There is an element of like, well, you can charge more because you become an expert in that thing. You're working a more targeted client, right? So there is an element to that that's true. For most of us, I would not recommend when you start your business on day one, even choosing a niche, okay? For most of us, the best thing you can do is you can say, I'm a general virtual assistant. I can do all these skills and I will work for any business owner that wants to hire me. Because what's going to happen, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't need to find your niche will find you. But it's corny, but it's true, because you'll start working with people and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, like, I learned, this person wanted me to help me with their Pinterest, and now I know how to run Pinterest and I love Pinterest. I'm going to only do Pinterest, right? Or, oh my goodness, I ended up working with this, with this person in the construction industry, and like, who knew, like, I love working with the construction industry. And what's so cool is that a lot of these people, when you're working on tasks for them, they already have a system. They already have a process. So you don't need to come in knowing everything. A lot of them will be like, hey, here's the way we do things. You can come in and you can kind of tweak and change things as you go. And so you can learn. And so the only caveat is if you already have like tons of experience in a certain subject or industry. Like if you've been designing websites your whole life, then go design more websites, right? Like, and you love it, keep doing that. Or if you've been working in real estate for 20 years and you have all these, connections in the real estate industry, and you're like, I'm going to go do like work with wedding professionals. It's like, well, why would you do that when you have this huge, amazing niche that's already like ready and right for you, right? So those would be the only instances, is that if you already really are really proficient in one skill, or if you really have connections to an industry and you love that industry, those would be the only reasons that I would recommend niching down right away. Other than that, start with general admin, just kind of make the list of services that you know how to do. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit more this week, but you can make a list. Hey, here's 10 services I can offer. Here's 20 services I can offer. And then start offering those services just with an hourly package, right? I'll work for you, 10 hours a month for $300 for the month, right? And it renews every single month. There's tons of different ways to package and price your services. But that's how I would recommend starting out, because then you can just kind of ease into it and start figuring out, what do I like? What do I not like?
Yeah, I like that. And Vanessa says, does the Savvy System have courses that will train in email management and calendar management?
Awesome question. So I'll talk a little bit for a second about the Savvy System, because we are launching it this Friday. Let me just go ahead and just like clear the air here. You don't have to buy the Savvy System to be a successful virtual assistant. Like, there's people who start their VA businesses without buying our course, and I'm just going to be really upfront about that. However, with that said, we make it so much easier because it's a complete blueprint. It's 70 lessons on how to, so many, we calculated at one point how many hours of content it is, but it's supposed to lead you through your entire first year, although you get lifetime access, so you can keep taking the courses forever. Everything from choosing your services, your rate, legalities, we give you a contract, how to market, how to scale, how to hire, how to take a vacation, how to, like all of the things, right, are just in these lessons, as well as a community and live streams and experts and all of these different things. So all of that is in there. Now, the Savvy System is that program. That's what we're launching this Friday. That program we're essentially going to teach you how to become a virtual assistant with the skills you already have. And let me tell you, you already have skills. I know you may think that you don't, but you do. So we teach you how to identify the skills you already have and put those into services. Now, some of the simple things like customer service emails, email management, things like that, we do have a lesson that teaches you those general admin skills. But if you want to go on and learn something more advanced, like Pinterest management or Instagram management, or something that is more advanced skills, then that we have a separate product called Savvy Vault. It's $37 a month for Savvy System members, or you can just bundle it all together, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So if you wanted to add like more high-end services, then you could add that right then or later or whatever. So, but the answer to your question was, do you teach those general services? Yes, we do inside the Savvy System. Anything beyond those general services, we do have a separate product that you can choose to purchase or not choose to purchase. So that's just something else to think about.
Awesome. And Stacy wants to know, what do you recommend charging per hour as a VA?
Great question. So, I can't tell you what to charge. It's your business and you get to choose your rate. That's the beauty of being an independent contractor. Most of our VAs come in, most of our VAs come in and they're somewhere between like $20 and $30 an hour starting out. That's just what we see from our community generally, where people start out if they're coming in with no experience. If they're coming in with like, hey, I already know how to do some of these higher end skills, maybe they'll come in starting at $40 or $50 an hour, right? And that's fine. So in the back of your head, you kind of always need to know your hourly rate. Like I know my hourly rate, even though I don't do hourly services for anyone ever. I still know, like, this is how much my time is worth right now, and I have to apply that to something. Like if I'm sitting here like trying to like, I don't know, like organize like this little thing that doesn't really matter. I'm like, is this worth my hourly rate? No, it's probably not. Stop doing it, Abby. Like, and so in the back of your head, even if you're like, I build a website for $5,000. Okay, well, how much does that break apart hourly? Because if you're spending hundreds of hours on that website, then you still need to know that it's worth it, right? So hourly rate, it really depends. You get to choose it, but most of our VAs start out in that $20 to $30 an hour range.
And so Uzair wants to know, do you need to be expert in some field to earn a handsome income as a VA?
No, not necessarily. So, and that's another thing that's awesome about virtual assistants is that now, if you're not going to learn high-end services and you want to scale your business to like 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, potentially 7 figures, if you want to do that and you're not wanting to do high-end services, then you may end up having to do like a little mini agency. That's what I did. I was earning about $10,000 a month from my basement apartment, me and like 3 or 4 subcontractors, right? So I was just doing general admin skills at the time. And I eventually did go on to start doing more copywriting. But me and my team, when I was making that income, we were basically just doing general admin skills. But what I did is I multiplied myself by having a little team underneath me. Some of you guys don't want to do that, right? And that's another thing that's awesome about virtual assistants. And some of you guys are like, I just want to make like $1,000 a month. Like, I don't need to like do anything crazy. Like, I just want to be able to like have money to go to Disney once a year or something, right? So like, for some of you, that's the case. For some of you, you're like, nah, I'm going to take over the world and my business is going to be, and I know people who I have a friend who has 64 subcontractors underneath her, right? And for some of you, you're like, oh, that sounds terrifying. Okay, then don't do that, right? Like, you get to choose how much you want to grow this thing, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely. And Veronica says, what day do we talk about packaging?
So packaging and pricing, I think we are going to go into it on one of the days. I don't remember exactly. But essentially, we have some really great resources also on our blog and our YouTube channel. If you guys have not devoured our blog and our YouTube channel, there's so much good information there. I'll have my team, just so you can go ahead and get a head start. I'll go ahead and have my team post in the comments a blog too. We have like this basically hourly versus packages blog post, and it goes into detail on really how to price and package. And we have a really good one on setting your rate as well, your virtual assistant rate. So if my team could drop those 2 blogs in the comments, that'll be really helpful to you.
I have seen those links drop in there throughout the live. So also you can kind of scroll through and find those links too. And then I've seen a lot of people ask, how much is the Savvy system? Are there monthly payments? What are all the details there?
Okay, yes. So the Savvy system, and Melanie, you might have to help me with this. I know that we've changed the pricing a little bit. So the Savvy system by itself is $14.97. And I know that seems like that's a lot, right? But I want you to remember, guys, the Savvy system is a complete guidebook to how to launch, grow, and scale your business. We have a 30-day money back guarantee, which means that in the first 30 days, if you're like, I either didn't make my money back in these first 30 days, or I'm like, you're not guaranteed to make your money back in the first 30 days, although tons of people do. Or if you're like, I just don't think that this is the right fit for me, we have a money back guarantee. And like we said, there's so much lower overhead. So it's definitely worth the price. Susie in the comments says it is worth every single penny. And we do have payment plans as well. So I believe the payments is, do you remember, Melanie? Is it?
So for the $14.97, I think the payments now are $147. Yes, $147. Yes, 12 payments of $147.
Okay, 12 of $147. Thank you.
Yes. I know, and we just changed it. So I had
their pricing this year. That's why Melanie and I promise we're not. See, we told them we're bad with numbers. Yeah, so it's 12 payments of $147. That's what I wanted to say, but I didn't want to say it incorrectly. Yes. That's funny. Hey guys, you don't have to be perfect at your business. It's
action over perfection every day.
Exactly, 100%. Okay, and somebody saying in the comments, how often is the Savvy system offered? I can't do it right now. So we offer the course 2 times a year, so July and January. So this is our summer launch, and then we'll do a winter launch as well in January. So if you can't do this cohort, we understand. But the cart is going to open this Friday, and it'll be open for 2 weeks. So you do have about 3 weeks from today to really a little less than 3 weeks to figure out if it is the right option for you. Like I said, nobody's obligated to do it, but it is a really great resource for the right person.
Yeah. And so Tina wants to know, how about taking time off? Can you take maternity leave?
Oh, such a good question. We actually have an entire lesson in the Savvy system about how to take time off. And it's totally possible. And I'll give you just kind of the brief overview. So when you're first starting, it might seem like, how do I do this? This seems really impossible. I mean, one of the most obvious ways is if you can eventually grow a team, then your team could handle the work while you're gone. That's one of the most obvious ways. But there's ways to do it even if you don't plan to have a team. And it comes down to mostly, no matter what option you choose, most of it comes down to planning. And so if you basically need to let your clients know ahead of time, right? So again, planning is key. Let your clients know. If you're wanting to take an unplugged vacation, I'll be honest, I think it's important. I think everyone should take an unplugged vacation. We're talking about maternity leave, so we can talk about that too. You can take an unplugged vacation, but a lot of times I'll just literally work. And like, I started my business when I was pregnant, so I get it. And I had a team at that point, but I basically took 2 weeks like completely off. And then I kind of started working again. And I'm not telling anybody to do that, but like I wanted to do that, right? I had a team. I didn't have to do that. But, you know, like when your baby's sleeping and you're sitting there, like, you're like, I'm still in pain, but I can still kind of type and I need something to keep my mind going, right? So like, I'm just saying there's options. But yes, we've had people, you know, get pregnant, have babies, take time off during the course. And so it's either that you pre-plan ahead of time. Sometimes you can do work up front, work after the fact, right? So if you're doing this much per month and you're going to take 2 weeks off, like I'll work extra before, extra after, so I could take completely unplugged vacation. You can have a team of people that are helping you with the work while you're gone, so everything just keeps running like clockwork. Or you can say honestly that I'm just taking these 2 weeks off, and you don't maybe don't get paid for those 2 weeks is another option as well. So there's lots of different ways. My favorite is building a team, because then things can happen without you. And you can even bring somebody in temporarily, right? Like, hey, for these 2 weeks, I've brought in so-and-so, or for these 3 weeks, for these 2 months, right? I'm going to be, and maybe you can come in and like check their work if you're newer. I think it kind of just depends, but yeah, just some different options for you.
Yeah. And like you said, Abby, sometimes you don't want to take the time off. So even for maternity leave or vacation, you find yourself checking back in. I think it's giving yourself that space, but absolutely. And I think maybe we have time for one more question. What do you say, Abby? Okay,
Yeah, sure.
So somebody actually wants to know, is this available for replay?
Oh yeah, 100%. So, you guys, if you haven't already, go to thevirtualsavvy.com/bizin5. Some of you already did that in order to actually, I already got an email about this training. But if you didn't, this will be the link to get all of the replays and everything of not just today's training, but all the training. So yes, this is going to stay on my Facebook page. This is going to stay on the YouTube channel, so you can come back, you can watch it if you didn't catch all of the training. And I would recommend trying to watch it at some point today, because we're gonna have a whole other live stream tomorrow and the next day and the next day. It's a full 5-day series, so you don't want to be behind. So go ahead and try to watch it today if at all possible. But yes, there will be replays of all of these trainings.
Okay, awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you
guys so much. I know we didn't answer every question. My team is going to come through and we're going to try to answer as many as possible. We're going to be doing another live Q&A after tomorrow's session. So I hope that you guys are able to join us for that as well. And because you stayed till the very end of today's training, every single day we're doing a Be Bold challenge, and we're going to essentially embarrass ourselves in front of you guys. So you guys all, almost 500 of you, 450 of you that stayed on till the very end, get to watch us embarrass ourselves. So let's see what the Be Bold challenge is for today. Are you ready, Melanie?
Yeah, I think so.
Beatbox. Oh, you guys get to hear us how to beatbox. Review, teach Melanie and all of us how to boots and cats. Okay, I'll explain what that means. So, are you ready, Melanie, to learn how to beatbox?
All right, let's do this.
Live beatboxing lesson.
Be bold.
Be bold, guys. If
right, I'm ready.
You can be bold too. Okay, so here's the very first time I learned how to beatbox is somebody told me you just say the word boots and cats over and over. So you start out by saying boots and cats and boots and cats.
Boots and cats and boots and cats.
Okay. Then you add a little right? So it's boots and cats and boots.
Okay. Boots and cats and boots and cats.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna get the hands going. Boots and cats.
Oh, look at her go. Here we go.
Oh. Okay.
Melanie.
Boots and cats. The virtual savvy. Boom.
That was good. That was the best.
Okay.
Awesome.
So
good.
If we can do that in front of 500 people, you can be bold.
So good. We believe in action over perfection here at the Virtual Savvy. We also believe in you. So I hope that you enjoyed this training. We will be going live again tomorrow at noon Central Time, and we will see you there. Bye, everyone.